The LEGO Technic Yamaha MT-10SP motorcycle has the single most revolutionary gearbox ever. When you have a motorcycle with a ton of brand new gears, there's going to be major innovation.
Until I check off everybody on my list. But somehow this is like a circus. I'm counting all of your done at my service. These can't pay for some disturbance, but this is what you get for your purchase. If I can, my ancient off the darkness.
Beyond looking like an absolute beast, this motorcycle has insane mechanisms. Perhaps they're even better than what we saw in the 8043 motorized excavator. In order to find that out, we have to start the assembly with a box, which gives some cool angles of the model. The set contains 1,478 pieces, it retails for $240 and will release on August 1st. We get 6 numbered bags as well as the tires from the previous BMW motorcycle and these wheel discs in blue for the first time. The steering hub holders appear in black for the first time, these panels are clear, and the following ones are in gray for the first time. The BMW shock absorber comes back in yellow for this motorcycle. There are a ton of brand new gears, like this red 24-tooth one with a clutch for the driving rings, some brand new yellow ones for the shifting mechanism, some brand new driving rings which are actually shorter than the previous red ones. They can slide on the 2-stud axle extenders, and the driving rings do not hold their place. They can slide smoothly. In fact, even if you use the ridged axle extenders, the new driving ring will still freely slide along, which is not good for distribution gearboxes. This is unlike the previous red one, which actually holds its position. We also get 2 brand new orange forks, which can be used to shift the new driving rings, the longer ones, or even the old short red ones. It's amazing how they're compatible with any type of driving ring. These blue shifter drum pieces will also be used for the gearbox. Later in the building process, you will be able to see exactly how all of these components come together. The white envelope contains a medium-sized sticker sheet as well as the instructions, which contain a ton of information about the real-life counterpart as well as the design process of the motorcycle itself. The designer of this set is Lars Thygesen. Here's the complete parts list for this set. The building process begins by connecting what looks like a garden rake to some Technic panels. A small beam reinforces the rake and a longer lift arm goes across. Another beam section connects vertically, it is reinforced further. A 7x11 frame expands the chassis up. These 1x3 half beams use an orange rubber pin in the middle and they connect to the rear. Some flip-flop beams connect to a regular one, and this part makes the top of the structure. The front stick is bent back. This is reinforced by some tiny panels on both sides. After some small connectors are added on top, the chassis expands forward. A small truss section is connected and is reinforced with some beams. This tiny frame slides onto the front. It attaches with some beams on the sides along with some L-shaped lift arms on top. A few panels go on the sides and then a small module with Technic bricks goes on top. It is secured with an axle. The sides are smoothed out and so far the chassis looks like a T-Rex. The next stage begins with a small frame and a green 20-tooth gear with clutch is inserted along with a regular 16-tooth one. A golden chain goes around that gear, an L-shaped beam structure connects here, and the first driving ring slides in. A movable module connects to the bottom of the gearbox and a rubber band is what's responsible for its springy nature. On that same axle as the first driving ring, a red 16-tooth gear along with a driving ring slide in. An axle extends it and the brand new gear along with a blue 12-tooth gear slide in. An L-shaped module with a green gear ends up meshing with a blue 12-tooth one, another L-shaped section reinforces the gearbox, and an axle along with a blue 12-tooth gear are brought in. The gearbox is ready to be reinforced with another frame. The brand new orange fork slides onto 2 axles, and notice how it has a ball pin on top. The blue drum goes on top of the orange fork, and by spinning the drum, the orange fork moves in the desired direction because of that red ball pin. Several lift arms come in along with a brand new yellow gear, and a second blue drum will be responsible for another orange fork. After this part gets reinforced with another yellow gear and some lift arms, you can see the gorgeous sliding forks in action. This section goes on top of the gearbox, and make sure to properly align the forks with the driving rings, otherwise the gearbox will not work. A small ratchet is built up using a rubber band. After you attach this section to the gearbox, connect it with a beam to the rubber band springy portion. You can clearly see how it ends up working together with the new yellow gears for the shifting. Note, there is a red beam on the other side which will end up locking the speeds in place. The next part is all about building the inline inline 4-cylinder engine. Simply insert the pistons into the blocks and connect an axle into the engine. Reinforce it with a gear rack. This is quite an interesting building technique. Secure it onto the gearbox, connect a green 20-tooth gear to the engine, and then insert an axle with a 16-tooth gear into the gearbox. A 12-tooth gear goes on the right of the gearbox, along with another one on the left, which ends up meshing with the green one, and then insert a small 8-tooth one here. I have connected a large powered-up motor and keep a close eye on the speed. This is the third speed in which the engine is the slowest relative to the wheel. This is the second speed, neutral, and then the first one. In this motorcycle, the neutral comes after the first speed, not the second one like what we got in the BMW motorcycle. The Yamaha's shifting is more accurate to real-life motorcycles. The gear ratios inside the gearbox itself are 1/1, 20/12, and 24/8. Let's continue the building process. Several small panels are secured and a large system section is built up, which covers the gearbox. Several more panels are connected along with a beam structure to reinforce them. The gearbox looks absolutely gorgeous. A marriage process occurs between the gearbox and the chassis. Secure the gearbox with a long axle and you have to push in the pins on the sides. Secure a shock absorber to the red beams that push on the yellow gear. This ensures that the speeds get locked and it won't just randomly go from the third to the second gear without any user input. The next part is all about the wheels. Insert a 40-tooth gear onto the axle and then on the other side secure a brake disc. This makes a great top spinner. Take some large panels and put them together with several beams in the middle. A frame goes on top and a system tile with a sticker attached here. This creates the stand on which we can place the motorcycle to complete the building process more easily. There are several small pieces connected to a triangular panel and the large yellow shock absorber is secured and some eye-shaped lift arms hold it in place. The large wheel is inserted and this section connects to the rest of the chassis. Make sure to put the chain on the 40-tooth gear. Secure the yellow shock absorber with an axle and add another gray panel to fully secure the wheel. A few tiny panels end up serving as the mudguards. There is a Technic linker that goes under the chain and the shifting lever consists of a small L bracket. Take a pair of these massive shock absorbers and connect them onto the front. Add some brake discs on both sides of the front wheel, connect them to the specialized wheel hubs and secure this wheel onto the large shock absorbers. Add a fake brake on both sides and these tapered panels act as the front fender. Several panels smooth out the top as well as the sides of the motorcycle. Then connect the system pieces onto the studs at the top. The steering handlebars go on top of the shock absorbers and there is another brake wire that leads to the discs. Take some clear minifigure heads on axles and insert them into black barrels. These act as the headlights. Build up the panel section using some clear ones and connect it on top. A license plate is secured along with a pair of spikes. Carefully thread the brake wire, add the exhaust pipe along with some decorative stuff on both sides of the gearbox. Before we take a closer look at all of the functions of the set, my review of the LEGO Technic Libre LR1304146 is coming in just a few days, so make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. No pressure though, no pressure. The first function I would like to show you is the 3-speed transmission. You can change the speeds by using the lever on the side. At the top there is a tiny hole through which you can see the 4-cylinder inline engine, but I recommend taking off some of the side panels to truly see it in action. This is the first speed, second, neutral, and third. Since the wheel is driving a 40-tooth gear which is connected to a 16-tooth gear inside the gearbox, you have to multiply the ratios inside the gearbox itself by 40/16 or 5/2 in order to get the final result of all of the speeds. I love how LEGO actually made the shifting order accurate to real-life motorcycles, unlike the previous BMW motorcycle in which the neutral came after the second speed. Amazingly, the gearbox works absolutely perfectly and it almost never jams. I'm quite certain that this exact shifting mechanism along with these yellow gears will be used for transmissions in upcoming 1-8 supercars. Since the real-life version of this motorcycle actually has a 6-speed transmission, I do wish that there was a 4th gear since that would be quite easy to do without having to modify the gearbox much or add any additional driving rings. The feeling of seeing that rear wheel move and knowing what sorts of crazy mechanisms are going on inside to make that transmission work is simply indescribable with words. In fact, I felt more fascinated while building this gearbox than I did for the 8043 motorized excavator, and I never thought that this day would come. The suspension is fantastic and it allows the motorcycle to be played with in off-road terrain. The front shock absorbers have a good amount of travel and so does the rear yellow one. Now you can clearly see what those orange rubber pins are used for. The steering works great, and you don't even have to use the steering wheel itself. You can simply turn the entire body of the motorcycle and the front wheel will follow. The steering handlebars are well thought out and have so much detail put into them. You can see various Technic axles and extenders used as brakes and the grips. And I also love how there are rear view mirrors incorporated here using some shiny system pieces. This set unfortunately does not come with any additional dashboard plates to swap out like how you had that option in the BMW motorcycle, and I wish that you had multiple versions of the dashboard for this set. The front looks absolutely gorgeous, and I love the use of the panels here and the creative building technique for the headlights. It looks stunning. I love that there is a deployable kickstand in this set and you don't have to always display it with a main stand. I think that for the stand, it should have had a premium tile instead of a sticker. Stands that are printed give a much more premium feeling. This motorcycle is easily my favorite Technic set out of the past decade. That's right, it even beats the Volvo articulated hauler, Zetros, and the Airbus H-175 rescue helicopter. In Technic, it's crucial to have authenticity, functionality, and challenging building. Not only does this set get a perfect score in each of the 3 categories, but building that insanely advanced gearbox will certainly break your mind in a good way. I thought that the only set to give me this feeling was the 8043 motorized excavator from 2010, but this motorcycle proved me wrong. So is the LEGO Technic Yamaha MT-10SP 42159 motorcycle really worth $240? While it does come with 1,478 pieces, which is almost 17 cents per piece, you have to keep in mind that the much more expensive Liebherr LR13000 will not have a gearbox, and it will cost you $700. The best feature of the Liebherr is the weight measuring, which is far less advanced than the gearbox. At the core of LEGO Technic are mechanisms, and this set will not disappoint you. Yes, $250 is expensive, but it's absolutely worth it. If you want to see what LEGO Technic is truly capable of, and if you want to receive this awesome feeling as I describe it, a massage for the brain, then you should absolutely buy this set. However, its predecessor, the BMW motorcycle from last year, will cost you only $150 for a sealed copy on Bricklink, and if you would like to see my review of that set, then click on the video right over here. This is your Unbrick Me here, and I'll see you in the next one.